Time and time again, I am told that graduation is the end of a chapter of my life, of all of our lives. Of course, if you think of life as a book, you can see it that way. You read a couple of paragraphs, then turn the page, scanning on to the next major event, in some of our cases, scanning on to the next event that will appear on a reading quiz. The further in the book you read, the more and more distant those first few pages, chapters even, become. It's possible that those early sentences of the book will fade completely from your memory. And that's not too beneficial, especially in the case of a cumulative book test. People tell us that after high school we will part ways. We will forget our friends and find new friends at college or at work, and that high school will become a distant memory of the past. But that worldview is much too cynical for my taste. I will never forget my first football game, the panic of finding your friends in a semi-decent spot, preferably one where you can actually see what is going on. I will never forget the late nights out to eat with my friends after one event or another. Many of us will not forget the more than slight panic that comes with walking by Mr. Belk or Mr. Thomas when you know you don't have an ID and you are definitely out of dress code. Sorry. I don't think any of us will forget walking into South Pointe the first time this year, not thinking that we had changed, but that something certainly had. In that way, I don't think that when you close a book and put it on the shelf, it will ever completely go away. Personally, I've read my copy of Harry Potter at least 3 times, and it never gets old. So if we ever want to reminisce over our high school experiences, all we have to do is pick our books up off the shelf, dust them off, and read them. Now, I know many of us are not as big fans of reading as I am, but in a time when so many of our lives exist online, it can be so easy to remember our days at South Pointe. Whether that means pulling out the yearbooks or sifting through the over 20 gigabytes of pictures and videos that now occupy my laptop hard drive, I can always remember my friends. With a simple swipe of a finger or click of the mouse, I can time travel back to the first day of freshman year, to one of the many rehearsals in theater or chorus, or to the many laughs had over pink lemonade at Wingbones. Of course, many of us have bought new books. In November, I decided to buy about 7 new books, although admittedly, a couple of them did not like me as much as I liked them. Some of our books will now read Furman University, or USC, or Clemson. Some others will read work, military, or one of the many other schools that we will attend in the fall. Some of us will leave Rock Hill, and some of us will not. Some of us will return for next year's football games, musicals, and concerts, and others won't. All of us, though, will have a book on our shelves that reads South Pointe. Some people's books will collect more dust than others, and on this stage, in just a few minutes, our books will be bound. While our stories don't end here, on this stage, revisions in our book will cease. So I can't help but feel nostalgic about the last few seconds as together as Stallions, as the class of 2016. Thank you.
Well, class of 2016, we're here. We finally arrived at the moment that we've dreamed about for the past 4 years, if not even longer. In fact, I think in my own case, and I dare say in many of yours, that we spent more of our time in class daydreaming about this moment than we actually did paying attention to the lesson. And we spent so long dreaming about this moment because it really is the perfect event, the perfect culminating end to an imperfect journey. Here we are, sitting as one class made equal by a set of identical, if not exactly flattering, robes. But more than that, we are one class made equal by a common walk across this stage, and a common vision of an even grander walk through life after we cross. Today, class of 2016, we sit as one, the stars of this show. But to further the perfection of this moment, we are surrounded by the true heroes that brought us to this ceremony. In the stands around us, the parents, family, and friends who have stood behind us our entire lives, offering a helping hand and sometimes an all too necessary shove. And the seats beside us are teachers and administrators who acted as our surrogate parents for 8 hours out of every day, putting up with our teenage insanity in order to ensure that we would be here today to walk across this stage. To the parents, families, friends, teachers, and administrators, I say thank you. We truly would not be here today without you. But as exciting as this moment is, it also comes with its own terrors. We are now in a unique position, a crossroads of sorts. You see, on the greater stage of life, we stand precariously. We hold one foot firmly planted in our past, in our family roots, hometown safety, and academic careers. But our other foot hovers uncertainly above our futures. And in the coming days, this is a step that we must take. What remains for us is to decide how we choose to take this step, how we choose to handle our future. In this, I'm reminded of the words of the Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard, who said, "To dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose oneself." Sitting here today, it is tempting to make that next step into our futures a small one. If we step too far, after all, we might misstep. We might falter and lose our footing. But I think Kierkegaard had it right when he urged us to dare to take a greater step. To dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose one's very self. You see, our very identities rest in our ability to dare. In a world that prizes conformity, a world that will try to tell you who you are and who you will be. In this world, the very act of being yourself is an act of daring. With every step we take in fear that we aren't good enough, strong enough, smart enough. With every step that we fail to make the most of ourselves, we lose that bit of ourselves that went unused. This is not to say that we should go out and live lives of complete daring, taking unnecessary risks and pursuing the idea that the realization of desire is the actualization of self. No, this means that the human spirit is strong, that every one of you out there today staring at me with varying degrees of boredom and impatience in your eyes is filled with an unquenchable drive that desires to make the most of itself. Standing before you here today, I have no great wisdom to offer, save this. Every person out there has the capacity for greatness. So dare to realize that greatness. Dare to make your next step a great stride. Dare to make your own future. Dare all of this with the constant memory that if you lose your footing, you still have one foot planted firmly here, with the many heroes in this room who will always be there to help you find your way again. So dare to make your name heard. Dare to make our name heard. We are the class of 2016, and we will dare to step forth into greatness.